Shukrana Guruji ka for this beautiful divine seva of reading the Shivpuran. I'm going to just quickly do a synopsis of the last week's chapter. Last week we read chapter 44 of the Rudra Samhita part 3, which dealt with when Meena regains consciousness. So in this chapter we read that on seeing Shiva's ugly form and his pretas, bhutas and ganas, Meena, who is the mother of Parvati, became unconscious and she fell on the floor. After regaining consciousness, she rebuked everyone and then she frequently censured her sons and her daughter Parvati. She was agitated by grief when she saw that form of Shiva, and she was angry, and she used faltering words for her sons, for Parvati and for Narada. Narada tried to convince Meena to cast off her anger, as the form of Shiva that she has seen was not his real form. Hearing this, Meena got really upset. She insulted Narada and asked him to go away. Then Indra and other gods came and tried to convince her to give her daughter's hand, Parvati's hand, to Shiva, as he was the supreme lord, but Meena did not accept it. She did not accept the proposal and told them that she would rather slay her daughter with weapon than give her hand to Shiva. After this, Himachala, who was her husband, tried to intervene and convince her to accept Shiva as the bridegroom for Parvati. But again, Meena told him that if he agrees to the alliance, then she would kill herself. After this, Parvati herself tried to tell Meena that there was nobody better than Shiva in the entire universe for her and requested her mother to agree to their alliance. But again, hearing Parvati, Meena became very, very angry and she thrashed her with fists. Narada and other sages had to come and separate the mother and daughter, and Meena continued to hurl harsh, repulsive words at them. She insulted the Lord Shiva and cried in excess of grief. Then Brahma came and tried to convince her and told her the greatness of Shiva, but she refused to agree. Then Vishnu came and spoke to her and told her that he and Brahma have originated from Shiva, as he was the supreme lord, and that she should worship Shiva. But Meena was deluded by Shiva's magic and did not agree with Vishnu and all the others who were trying to convince her to give her hand to Shiva in marriage. She told Vishnu that she will only agree to the alliance if Shiva assumes a lovely form and body and not otherwise. Now today we are going to read chapter 45, which is Shiva's comely form and the jubilation of the citizens. We have Sunita auntie who will be reading in English and Jyotsna auntie who will be reading in Hindi. Shukrana Guruji ka.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana to Guru Sahib for granting me this seva. Apologies ahead of time for any errors and omissions. Chapter 45, Shiva's comely form and the jubilation of the citizens. Brahma said, "In the meantime, O sage, urged by Vishnu, you went immediately to Shiva to conciliate him. After reaching there with a desire to get the task of the gods fulfilled, you pleaded with Shiva after eulogizing him with different kinds of hymns. On hearing your words, Shiva joyously assumed a wonderfully excellent and divine form and showed his mercifulness. O sage, on seeing the comely form of Shiva, the receptacle of exquisite beauty, far better than that of Cupid, you were greatly delighted. Highly delighted, you eulogized him again and again with different kinds of hymns and returned to the place where Meena was seated along with other gods. Reaching there, O sage, with great affection and delight, you spoke to the great pleasure of Meena, the wife of Himawat. Narad said, O Meena of wide eyes, see the excellent features of Shiva. The merciful Shiva has taken pity on us. Brahma said, extremely surprised on hearing your words, Meena, the beloved wife of the mountain, saw Shiva's form that afforded great bliss. It was as refulgent as that of 1,000 suns. Every part of the body was exquisite. The garments were of variegated colors. He was embellished with different ornaments. He was smiling with great delight. His comeliness was highly pleasing. He was fair-complexioned and lustrous. The crescent moon added to his beauty. Vishnu and other gods lovingly served him. The sun acted as his royal umbrella. The moon embellished him. In every way he was extremely handsome, bedecked in ornaments. It was impossible to describe adequately the great beauty of his vehicle. The Ganga and the Yamuna were waving the chauris. The 8 siddhis danced in front of him. Vishnu, I, Indra and other gods bedecked their bodies and dressed and accompanied Shiva. The Ganas of various forms and features shouted cries of victory, victory, and walked in front of Shiva. The Siddhas, the secondary gods, the extremely delighted sages, went in company of Shiva. The others too were equally delighted. Thus the fully decorated gods were very jubilant, and in the company of their wives they eulogized Shiva, the supreme Brahman. Vishwavasu and others, along with the celestial damsels, sang songs of Shiva's glory. O excellent sage, when Shiva was nearing the threshold of the palace of Himavat, there was much jubilation there. O excellent sage, who can describe the exquisite splendor of the Supreme Lord at that time? On seeing him in that form, Mena stood stunned as though drawn in a picture for a moment, O sage, and spoke these words. Mena said, O great Lord, my daughter is indeed blessed, she by whom the great penance was performed. It is by virtue of that penance that you have come to my threshold. O Lord of Parvati, be pleased now. Pardon me for the heap of repulsive words I showered on Shiva. Brahma said, after saying thus and eulogizing the moon-crested Lord, Mena, the beloved of the mountains, bowed to him with palms joined in reverence and stood shy. By that time the ladies of the town left the work they were engaged in their eagerness to see Shiva. A certain lady in the midst of her bath and toilet was overwhelmed with the desire to see Shiva, the bridegroom of Parvati. She came out with a shampoo powder still held in her hands. A certain lady, engaged in fanning her husband in the company of her maid, left that job and came out to see Shiva with the fan still in her hands. Another lady, in suckling her babe at her breast, left him dissatisfied and came out eagerly to see the Lord. Another lady, engaged in trying her waist girdle, came out with it. Another lady came out with garments worn inside out. Another lady left her husband, who had sat down to dine, and came out thirsting and enthusiastic to see the bridegroom. A certain lady, holding the collyrium in her hand after applying it to one of her eyes, came out to see the bridegroom of the daughter of the mountain with the salve still stuck in her hand. Another damsel, engaged in applying the red lac juice to her feet, heard the tumult outside and so left it in the middle and came out to see the procession. Thus the ladies forsook their activities, left their houses and came out. On seeing the exquisite form of Shiva, they were greatly fascinated. Delighted on seeing Shiva and overwhelmed by affection, they cherished the comely form in their hearts and spoke as follows. The ladies said, the eyes of the residents of this town have become fruitful. The life of the persons who have seen this comely form has become meaningful. The life is fruitful and the rights are fruitful only of the person who has seen Shiva, the destroyer of all sins. Parvati has accomplished everything inasmuch as she performed penance for Shiva. She is blessed. She is contented in securing Shiva as her husband. If Brahma had not joined this pair, Shiva and Shiva, his endeavor of creation would have entirely become fruitless. This is well done. The excellent pair has been united. Everything has become meaningful in every activity. A vision of Shiva is inaccessible to men without penance. All of us have now become contented by seeing Shiva. Just as Lakshmi was blessed by securing Vishnu as her lord formerly, so as also the gentle Parvati has become embellished on securing Shiva. Just as Saraswati was blessed by securing Brahma as her husband, so also the gentle Parvati has become embellished on getting Shiva as her husband. All of us, men and women, are blessed, we who see Shiva, the Lord of all, the husband of Parvati. Brahma said, saying thus, they worshipped Shiva with sandal paste and raw rice grains. They showered him with fried grains respectfully. The ladies standing near Mena were enthusiastically praising the good luck of Mena and the mountain. Hearing the auspicious stories and anecdotes of the ladies, the Lord became delighted, O sage, along with Vishnu and others. That concludes the reading in English. Jyotsna aunty will now read in Hindi. Jai Guruji.
जय गुरु जी। अब हम अध्याय 45 हिंदी में पढ़ेंगे। भगवान शिव का अपने परम सुंदर दिव्य रूप को प्रकट करना, मेना की प्रसन्नता और क्षमा प्रार्थना तथा पूर्वासिनी स्त्रियों का शिव के रूप का दर्शन करके जन्म और जीवन को सफल मानना। ब्रह्मा जी कहते हैं, नारद, इसी समय भगवान विष्णु से प्रेरित हो तुम शीघ्र ही भगवान शंकर को अनुकूल बनाने के लिए उनके निकट गए। वहां जाकर देवताओं का कार्य सिद्ध करने की इच्छा से नाना प्रकार के स्तोत्रों द्वारा तुमने रुद्र देव को संतुष्ट किया। तुम्हारी बात सुनकर शंभु ने प्रसन्नता पूर्वक अद्भुत, उत्तम एवं दिव्य रूप धारण कर लिया। ऐसा करके उन्होंने अपने दयालु स्वभाव का परिचय दिया। मुने, भगवान शंभु का वह स्वरूप कामदेव से भी अधिक सुंदर तथा लावण्य का परम आश्रय था। उसका दर्शन करके तुम बड़े प्रसन्न हुए और उस स्थान पर गए जहां सबके साथ मेना विद्यमान थी। वहां पहुंचकर तुमने कहा, विशाल नेत्रों वाली मेने, भगवान शिव के उस सर्वोत्तम रूप का दर्शन करो। यह रूप प्रकट करके उन करुणामय शिव ने तुम पर बड़ी ही कृपा की है। तुम्हारी यह बात सुनकर शैलराज की पत्नी मेना आश्चर्यचकित हो गई। उन्होंने शिव के उस परमानंददायक रूप का दर्शन किया जो करोड़ों सूर्यों के समान तेजस्वी, सर्वांग सुंदर, विचित्र वस्त्रधारी तथा नाना प्रकार के आभूषणों से विभूषित था। वह अत्यंत सुंदर, सुंदर हास्य से सुशोभित, ललित लावण्य से लसित, मनोहर, गौरवपूर्ण, द्युतिमान तथा चंद्रलेखा से अलंकृत था। विष्णु आदि संपूर्ण देवता बड़े प्रेम से भगवान शिव की सेवा कर रहे थे। सूर्यदेव ने छत्र लगा रखा था। चंद्रदेव मस्तक का मुकुट बनाकर उनकी शोभा बढ़ा रहे थे। इन सब साधनों से भगवान शंकर सर्वथा रमणीय जान पड़ते थे। उनका वाहन भी अनेक प्रकार के आभूषणों से विभूषित था। उसकी महाशोभा का वर्णन नहीं हो सकता था। गंगा और यमुना भगवान शिव को सुंदर चवड़ डुला रही थी और 8 सिंधियां उनके आगे नाच रही थी। उस समय में भगवान विष्णु तथा इंद्र आदि देवता अपने अपने वेश को बलिभांति विभूषित करके पर्वतवासी भगवान शिव के साथ चल रहे थे। नाना रूपधारी शिव के गण खूब सज धज कर अत्यंत आनंदित हो शिव के आगे आगे चल रहे थे। सिद्ध उपदेवता, समस्त मुनि तथा अन्य सब लोग भी महान सुख का अनुभव करते हुए अत्यंत प्रसन्नता पूर्वक शिव के साथ यात्रा कर रहे थे। इस प्रकार देवता आदि सब लोग विवाह देखने के लिए उत्कंठित हो खूब सज धज कर अपनी पत्नियों के साथ परब्रह्म शिव का यशोगान करते हुए जा रहे थे। विश्वावसु आदि गंधर्व अप्सराओं के साथ हो शंकर जी के उत्तम यश का गान करते हुए उनके आगे आगे चल रहे थे। मुनि श्रेष्ठ महेश्वर के शैलराज के द्वार पर पधारते समय इस प्रकार वहां नाना प्रकार का महान उत्सव हो रहा था। मुनीश्वर, उस समय वहां परमात्मा शिव की जैसी शोभा हो रही थी उसका विशेष रूप से वर्णन करने में कौन समर्थ हो सकता है। उन्हें वैसे विश्लेषण रूप में देखकर मेना क्षण भर के लिए चित्र लिखी सी रह गई। फिर बड़ी प्रसन्नता के साथ बोली, महेश्वर, मेरी पुत्री धन्य है जिसने बड़ा भारी तप किया और उस तप के प्रभाव से आप मेरे इस घर में पधारे। पहले जो मैंने आप शिव की अक्षमय निंदा की है उसे मेरी शिवा की स्वामी शिव आप क्षमा करें और इस समय पूर्णतः प्रसन्न हो जाएं। ब्रह्मा जी कहते हैं, नारद, इस प्रकार बात करके चंद्रमौली शिव की स्तुति करती हुई शैल प्रिया मेना ने उन्हें हाथ जोड़ प्रणाम किया। फिर वे लज्जित हो गई। इतने में ही बहुत सी पूर्वासिनी स्त्रियां भगवान शिव के दर्शन की लालसा से अनेक प्रकार के काम छोड़कर वहां आ पहुंची। जो जैसे थी वैसे ही अस्त व्यस्त रूप में दौड़ आई। भगवान शंकर का वह मनोहर रूप देखकर वे सब मोहित हो गई। शिव के दर्शन से हर्ष को प्राप्त हो प्रेम पूर्ण हृदय वाली वे नारियां महेश्वर की उस मूर्ति को अपने मनंदो मंदिर में बिठाकर इस प्रकार बोली। पूर्ववासियों ने कहा, अहो हिमवान के नगर में निवास करने वाले लोगों के नेत्र आज सफल हो गए। जिस जिस व्यक्ति ने इस दिव्य रूप का दर्शन किया है, निश्चय ही उसका जन्म सार्थक हो गया है। उसी का जन्म सफल है और उसी की सारी क्रियाएं भी सफल हैं। जिसने संपूर्ण पापों का नाश करने वाले साक्षात शिव का दर्शन किया है। पार्वती ने शिव के लिए जो तप किया है, उसके द्वारा उन्होंने अपना सारा मनोहरत सिद्ध कर लिया। शिव को पति के रूप में पाकर ये शिवा धन्य और कृतकृत्य हो गई। यदि विधाता शिवा और शिव की इस युगल जोड़ी को सानंद एक दूसरे से मिला न देते तो उनका सारा परिश्रम निष्फल हो जाता। इस उत्तम जोड़ी को मिलाकर ब्रह्मा जी ने बहुत अच्छा कार्य किया है। इससे सबके सभी कार्य सार्थक हो गए। तपस्या के बिना मनुष्यों के लिए शंभु का दर्शन दुर्लभ है। भगवान शंकर के दर्शन मात्र से ही सब लोग कृतार्थ हो गए। जो जो सर्वेश्वर गिरिजापति शंकर का दर्शन करते हैं, वे सारे पुरुष श्रेष्ठ हैं और हम सारी स्त्रियां भी धन्य हैं। ब्रह्मा जी कहते हैं, नारद, ऐसी बात कहकर उन स्त्रियों ने चंदन और अक्षत से शिव का पूजन किया और बड़े आदर से उनके ऊपर खीलों की वर्षा की। वे सब स्त्रियां मेना के साथ उत्सुक होकर खड़ी रही और मेना तथा गिरिजाराज के भूरी भाग्य की सराहना करती रही। मुने, स्त्रियों के मुख से वैसी शुभ बातें सुनकर विष्णु आदि सब देवताओं के साथ भगवान शिव को बड़ा हर्ष हुआ। धन्यवाद। शुभ रात्रि।